New York City, and today we're talking about multiplying fractions. Probably the easiest way to work with fractions, I think so. So, have a little statistic for you. 1 out of every 20 kids in New York State go to New York City's public school. So, if you were to take 20 kids, one of them is in the public school system in New York City. Out of that, New York State accounts for 1 and every 15 people in the United States. So, to find out the relationship between New York City and the whole country, we can multiply these two fractions and we get 1 over 300. What this product here tells me is that for every 300 people in the United States, 1 of them attends the New York City public school system. So, we've got some more examples coming up. Let me get out of Times Square. It's getting kind of busy. Alrighty, ladies and gents, we're going to look at 3 examples this afternoon. So, the first one is example 1 right here. I love multiplying fractions because you can just multiply them straight across. There's one rule which we're going to get to in a second. So when we look at this first example, we literally can just go 1 times 2, which is 2, and then 2 times 3, which is 6. Now, 2 can go into both 2 and 6, so I've reduced this fraction. I would divide each one by 2, and this fraction will reduce to 1/3. Alright, now, pretty much the only rule with multiplying fractions, other than going straight across, is you can't have a mixed number. If you have a mixed number, you have to change that to an improper fraction. So to do that, we take the denominator times the whole number, so 2 times 2 is 4, and then we add the numerator, so 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5 over 2, times 3/4. Once we get to this step, we just multiply straight across again. 5 times 3 is 15, 2 times 4 is 8, 8 can go into 15 one time, and we have 7/8, which would be our final answer. So our last example for tonight, I'm going to show you a shortcut and a way to simplify before we answer and have our product. I didn't mention this earlier. We are in chapter 2 now, and we're looking at page 56 to 61. 56, 57, and 58 are the examples if you want to follow along. And then 59, 60, and 61 are some extra problems. Remember, the answers to the odd questions are in the back of the textbook if you want some extra practice. Okay, so our little shortcut here is we can look across fractions, and if they share a factor, we can reduce them before we multiply. So 7 and 10, when looking across, they don't share any of the same factors. But 9 and 21 do. They both share 3. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 goes into 21 7 times. I can't reduce that anymore. So now we go straight across. Then 7 times 7 is 49, and 3 times 10 is 30. 30 goes into 49 one whole time, and I'm left with 19 over 30. Alright, and this would be my final answer. Boys and girls, if you wanted, you could do 7 times 21. And then you could also do 9 times 10. But I don't want to work with large numbers like 90 or 7 times 21, which off the top of my head, not even sure what that product is. So this is just a way to make it a little bit shorter. Alright? Let's work with some smaller numbers. Let's say we had 2/3 times 6/8. Now, I could do 2 times 6, which would be 12, and 3 times 8, which would be 24. But then I have to reduce this. 2 goes into each of those 6/12, which would again reduce to 1/2. But watch how we use our trick here. 2/3, well, when I look across, 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 8 4 times. Look here, 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 2 twice. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 4 is 4, which also equals 1/2. All right? So you don't need to know the shortcut. It's just a way to make things a little bit easier for you when you have large numbers like this. All right? Have a great night.